Okay, so in our previous synchronous session, we were able to do calculations regarding the direction of the reaction, right? So, nalaman natin kung kung saan papunta yung reaction. Okay? So, why is that important, no? So, probably nakapag-start na kayo ng laboratory, no? So, in the laboratory kasi, kailangan nyo yung direction of the reaction to tell kung sino yung madadagdagan or sino yung mababawasan, right? Okay? So, ngayon, babalikan natin lahat ng na-discuss ko earlier. Okay? And then, we'll continue with the last part of chapter 3. Okay? So, sige. So, dito tayo natapos sa problem na to, right? Okay. Ito yung sinagutan natin last time, di ba? Okay. Ito ba, nasagutan ba natin to? Yung equilibrium constant na nitrosyl chloride. Nasagutan ba siya? Nasagutan ba natin yun, guys? O, hindi na naalala. Let me just double check yung recording natin, ha? Okay. So, we are going to answer this one pala. Okay? So, I left this last time and hopefully, na-try nyo magsagot. Kung hindi naman, okay lang. Okay. So, let's just review of what we learned last time, no? So, what's the purpose of reaction quotient ba? So, the purpose of the reaction quotient is for us to know where the reaction is going, no? Because, kunwari, let's say you're doing a chemical reaction and then you added some chemicals into it, no? So, what will happen? Of course, your system will adjust, no? Lahat naman ng bagay nag-a-adjust, no? Okay? Parang sa jeep yan, kunwari may bagong tao. So, mag-adjust ng upuan yung mga tao, right? So, ganun din sa chemical equilibrium systems, no? So, whenever you add certain amounts of products or reactants, the system will adjust, meaning that mayroong minsang mafo-form na product or mayroong reactants na mafo-form. Okay? So, we have two types of equilibrium constants. We have the K, which is the final goal. Ito yung final goal natin parate. And the Q, this is your initial. Okay? This is your initial condition. No? So, suppose you are mixing two chemicals. So, Q muna yan. Okay? So, that's the reaction quotient. That's the initial state of your system. And eventually, your chemicals will do reactions so that they can achieve the equilibrium constant K. Okay? So, from initial to the final. So, the equations for the K and Q are the same. Okay? Except that for the Q, we must take note that the concentrations are initial. Okay? So, that is denoted by the small letter I dyan sa baba. Okay? At para saan to ginagamit? Ang K and Q, we compare them to know the direction of the reaction, whether if that is going to the product or to the reactant. Okay? So, now, if your Q is less than the K, ibig sabihin yan, the reaction will proceed to the product side, no? Why? Kasi, reasons bakit nagiging less than yung Q is that maraming denominator or maraming reactants. So, if you have too much reactants, okay, so if you have too much reactants, the reaction will proceed to the product side so that they can achieve the K or the equilibrium. Okay? And then, if equal naman sila, then nothing has to be made kasi wala namang magbabago. Okay? And if your Q is greater than K, so let's say this is K, that is your Q, okay? Meaning, mas marami kang product, okay? Too much products than the reactants. Masyadong maraming products kaysa sa reactant. So therefore, your reaction has to reproduce the reactants para maging balance na uli yung ating equilibrium system. Okay? So, parang yun lang yung idea niya. Okay? So, mag-a-adjust so that you will achieve the K or you will achieve the equilibrium. So, we answered this problem last time. So, we'll continue with the next problem, which is this one. Let me read. The equilibrium constant Kc for the formation of nitrosyl chloride from nitric oxide and molecular chlorine is 6.5 times 10 raised to 4 at 35 degrees Celsius. In a certain experiment, 2 times 10 raised to negative 2 mole of nitric oxide, 8.3 moles of 8.3 times 10 raised to negative 3 moles of molecular chlorine and 6.8 moles of nitrosyl chloride are mixed in 2-liter flask. Okay? In which direction will the system proceed to reach equilibrium? Okay? So, ano sinabi? Ang dami sinabi, pero ang idea lang dyan is that binigay niya yung amount ng ating reactants and products. Okay? So, sabi niya, yung NO, ito daw yung moles niya. Yung Cl2, ito daw yung moles niya. And then, yung NOCl, ito yung moles niya. Okay? So, this is at the start of the reaction. Then, ang sumunod na tanong is, saan papunta yung reaction? Which direction will the system go? Okay? So, ganun. Kapag reaction quotient, ibibigay sa'yo initial amount, tapos hanapin mo, saan yung direction? Okay? So, ano gagawin niya? So, gagawin niya, since this is about the direction, always look for the reaction quotient. Always look for the reaction quotient Q. Okay? And since puro concentrations yung ating constant, no? Ayan, Kc yan concentration yan. So, we can write the concentrations of our chemicals in our reaction quotient. Okay? So, you already know how to write Q, right? So, nasa product side yung, nasa numerator yung products. Okay? And then yung coefficient, we make it an exponent. Okay? And then yung reactants natin, we place them at the denominator. Okay? So you have your NO and your Cl2. Okay? Ano kulang dito? Yung letter I. Okay? So do not forget yung letter I. Yan, kasi it means na initial yung amounts nila. Let me ask you again. Okay. Anyone? Ano yung unit ng concentration dapat yung nasa Q? What is the proper unit of concentration in my reaction quotient dapat? Ano ba dapat? Any idea? We've been doing this for a while na. Okay, so anong concentration na dapat na pina-plug in sa Q or sa K?
Molarity po ba, sir?
Yes, molarity. So it must be molarity. But the problem is, are we given the molarity? Binigay ba sa atin? Hindi, di ba? Ang binigay lang sa atin, moles. Ayun, ang puro moles. Ayan, mole, and another mole. So what should I do? Kasi molarity kailangan binigay sa akin, moles. What should I do? Dapat manghula na ako ng options. Ganun. Multiple choice yung quiz natin dito. Don't worry. So, anong gagawin natin? Mole binigay. Get muna yung molarity. How will you get that? By doing what? How do you get the molarity? By look at the problem. Andun yan. By we get the molarity by what should I do with the moles para siya ay maging molarity?
I-divide po sir sa volume po na given.
Yes, correct. Okay, so you divide it by the volume. Okay? Ginaganon ko kayo para, kunwari, nagko-quiz kayo para marinig nyo yung boses ko. Anong gagawin dito? Anong gagawin dyan? Kumbaga ako ang inyong konsensya. Okay? So, habang nagko-quiz kayo, dapat naririnig nyo yun. Ano gagawin ko? Given yung moles, divide ko dapat sa volume. Okay? Never forget that kasi mamamali kayo kapag nakalimutan nyo siya gawin. Okay? So, that should we do, no? We should divide the moles by the volume. Never forget that. Never forgetty. Mom spaghetti. Okay? So, gagawin natin, let's write the moles, okay, for NO, the Cl2, and the NOCl. So, I hope you are not hearing the screams of children. Alert level 1 na kasi kaya nasa labas na sila. Nangiingay tuloy. Naririnig ko boses na sa habang ko, please. Pag hanggang panaginip, naku, bangungot na yan. Okay. So, NO. So, that's 2 times 10 raised to negative 2 mole. You divide it by the volume. So, 2 liters. For the chlorine gas, that's 8.3 times 10 raised to negative 3 mole divided by 2 liters. For the NOCl, ganun din, no? Sabi nga ng ibang students ko that nag-radio na lang daw ako eh. Kasi kalmado daw boses ko. Sabi ko, sige, di pa ako trabaho. Okay. So yan, we have the concentration of NOCl2 and NOCl. Isasolve mo ba yan? Wag na. Okay. Gawin mo, i-plug in mo na lang directly. Kasi pag sinolve mo yan isa-isa, mauubos yung time mo. Okay? So, sulat mo lang and then mamaya, dun mo sila i-plug in sa kanilang concentrations. Okay? The goal is to save time because, limited ang time natin pag nag-quiz. By the way, I extended the time to 40 minutes. Hopefully, enough na siya. Pero pag hindi pa rin enough, sabihin niyo lang sa akin. I can do adjustments naman. Okay? So, NOCl. The concentration of NOCl can be calculated by dividing 6.8 by 2. Okay? So, lalagay ko na lang ito mismo doon sa aking Q. Okay? So, that will be 6.8 divided by 2. O, yung units, wag mo na isulat. Okay? And do not forget yung squared. Yan. Okay? So, yan. Next one, the NO, the nitric oxide, which is component ng acid rain. Okay? So, NO, that's 2 times 10 raised to negative 2 divided by 2. Okay? And then do not forget, naka-square siya. So, square. And then for the Cl2, that's 8.3 times 10 negative 3 divided by 2 liters. Okay? So again, do not forget to divide the moles by the volume. Kasi kapag nakalimutan nyo i-divide yun, mali na. Okay? Sayang effort. Okay? Now, ang gagawin natin, pindot na sa CalQ. By the way, I'm trying this software sa cellphone. Kung kayo wala kayong CalQ right now, download nyo to. ClassWiz Calc app. Okay? Meron na to in both Google Store and Google Play Store and Apple App Store. Okay? Meron yan for both App Store. Ito. Okay? Meron yan for both Google and Android. So, ClassWiz Calc app. I've been using this for a while. Maganda siya. Parang CalQ talaga. Okay? So, yan. So, download nyo na lang dito. Hindi nyo na kailangan bumili. It's free. Okay? So, yan. Share ko lang. Pero ako, bumili pa ako eh. Di pala, hinintay ko na lang. Tapos 1 year lang to, no? Lugi ako eh. Okay. So, let's plug in everything. Okay. So, in the numerator, may fraction. In the denominator, may fraction. So, mag-ingat. Okay. So, that is 6.8 divided by 2, close parenthesis, squared. Okay. And then in the denominator, I have two fractions. So that will be 2 times 10 raised to negative 2 divided by 2. Tapos naka-square siya. Times 8.3 times 10 raised to negative 3 divided by 2. Yan. Confirm ko lang. 6.8 divided by 2 square. We have 2 times 10 raised to negative 2 divided by 2 square. 8.3 times 10 negative 3 divided by 2. Okay. Press equal sign. Oh, ang laki. Magulat kayo na. Okay. Kaya ganito yung mga problem namin, no? Just to, just for you to be used to very big or very small number. Okay? Okay lang yan. Basta sinabi ng calcu yun. Okay? Tsaka tignan nyo yung KC natin, Look at our KC. It's 6.5 times 10 raised to 4. Okay, so 65,000 yan. So, ito, ilan to? 27 million. Okay? So, bali, our Q, let's round it off. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, 2.79 times 10 raised to 7. Tama ba ako ng bilang? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. So, our Q is 2.79 times 10 raised to 7. Okay lang ba yun, sir? Okay lang. Kasi tignan nyo yung exponent ng K natin, no? Times 10 raised to 4 nga siya. Pwede lang yan. Pwede yan. Okay? Tapos, anong gagawin natin? Meron na tayong K, meron na tayong Q. So, ang gagawin ay, we predict the direction of the reaction. Sinabi ko sa inyo last time, pwede nyo namang kabisaduhin to, o kaya, gumawa ka na lang ng number line. Okay? Ito, pwede mo yung kabisaduhin. Ayan. O kaya gawa ka number line. Gawin natin yung number line kasi gusto ko kayo masanay na hindi nagkakabisado masyado. Okay? Nagawa kayo number line. Okay? And in the middle, you have your K. So, nasa gitna si K natin. Si K ay... saan yung K? Ayun. So, 6.5 times 10 raised to 4. So, 6.5 times 10 raised to 4. Ngayon, nasan si Q? So, should it be on the left? Or should it be on the right? Asa kaya dapat si Q? Given that its value is 2.79 times 10 raised to 7. Saan kaya dapat siya? To the left ba? O to the right? Saan siya dito? Dito ba si Q? Or dito? Right po. Okay? So, dapat right. Kasi pag big number, nasa right. Okay? So, yan. So, dito si Q. Ayan. So, it's 2.79 times 10 raised to 7. Now, andito si Q. Sino gusto natin puntahan? Si K. So, andito si Q, nasa kanan. Si K, nasa gitna. So, what does that mean? Okay? Para si Q, para mapunta kay K, it needs to move to the left. Okay? So, it needs to move to the left. Okay? So, from Q, papunta kay K, so to the left. So, yun na yung sagot natin. The direction of the reaction of the reaction is to the left. To the left. Because Q is greater than K. Okay? So, ganun lang. Nasagutan nyo ba to last time? Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, try nyo to? Okay, nasagutan naman. Okay, so did you get the same answer then? To the left. Okay, ayan, so good. Okay, ayan, ganun lang ka-easy. Pero hindi pa ito yung pinaka main topic talaga na. Kumbaga ito ay mga pa lang, introduction. Ang pinaka-puso ng Anachem, okay, pinaka-heart of Anachem is what we call the equilibrium calculation. Okay? So, the equilibrium calculation is a culmination of concentration units, reaction quotient, equilibrium concept, so algebra, lahat yon pinagsama-sama dito sa equilibrium calculations. Okay, kasi ganito. Di ba alam natin yung direction ng reaction? Okay? So, in this problem, to the left, ano meaning nun? Pag to the left yan, itong product mababawasan, okay, will decrease. Tapos ito, madadagdagan, will increase in concentration. Okay? So, decrease in concentration yung product, increase in concentration yung reactant. Bakit? Kasi to the left yung reaction. Some of this will be converted back to these two. Okay? So, mababawasan yung concentration ng NOCl, mababawasan yung concentration ng NO pati Cl2. Okay? Pero, ang susunod na question dyan is, by how much will they increase or decrease? No? Gaano kalaki yung increase o decrease, di ba? Kasi Anachem to eh. So, it is quantitative. So, kailangan may sagot tayo sa question na yun. Na? So, we know that the reaction is to the left. Ito naman to the right. Alam din natin na in this problem, yung products mababawasan, yung reactants madadagdagan. We just know that because we know the direction of the reaction. But the question is, by how much will it decrease or increase? So to answer that question, by how much will they decrease or increase, we should do equilibrium calculation, okay? Or commonly referred to as the ICE table, okay? So the ICE table allows us to track the changes of concentration as the system goes to equilibrium, okay? So, pwede natin malaman yung direction of the reaction habang siya ay papunta sa equilibrium. So, ang tanong doon is, paano siya gagawin? Okay. So, yung ICE, may meaning yan. Okay? Minsan, tawag dyan, rice table. No? Pero ako, okay na ako sa ICE. And if kayo ay galing sa STEM, probably you know this already. Okay? So, ICE is, ICE stands for initial, concentration, change, and then equilibrium. Okay? So, kumbaga, yung Q natin, that is our initial. And then yung change, ito yung direction. And then yung equilibrium, yun yung K natin. Okay? So, the initial state, bibigay yan sa problem. Yung change, you determine it, no? You determine the direction of the reaction. And then yung K, that's the equilibrium concentration. Okay? So, yan yung final state of the system. Okay? So, ano gagawin natin dito? So, gagawa ka lang ng table. You write down all initial concentration. For the change, you will write an expression. Okay? So, gagawa ka ng unknown quantity, X. Itong unknown quantity na to, it represents the change in the concentration. Yx kasi hindi mo nga sure kung gaano karami yung madadagdagan o mababawasan. Okay? So that's why we write x na, as our unknown. Yun yung isa-solve mo kasi. Okay? And then yung equilibrium, basically, what we'll do is we'll combine the initial and the change. No? So, pagsasamahin lang natin siya to get the equilibrium. So, I know, siguro nakapag-start na kayo na sa laboratory, no? But we'll still go with it, no? Para naman ma-refresh ang ating isip, okay? Kung paano gumawa ng equilibrium calculation. So, let's check this problem, okay? Isomers of steel beam have an equilibrium constant Kc equal to 24 at 200 degrees Celsius. So the equilibrium reaction is shown. Suppose initially there is 0.85 molar cis isomer. Calculate the equilibrium concentration of all substances. Okay, mag-reflect tayo sa problem. Gusto ko gawin niya yung parate, no? So while reading, you reflect. Ano yung hinahanap niya? At ano yung binigay? So sagutin muna natin yung binigay. The problem gave us the initial concentration. Ito, initially. Ito daw concentration ng cis. Okay? So, binigyan niya tayo ng initial concentration. Tapos, ang hinahanap, equilibrium concentration. Whenever you encounter problems like that sa practice quiz and sa ating sa practice quiz pati sa mismong quiz, pag nakakita kayo ng ganyang problem, binigay yung initial, hinahanap equilibrium, gagawa kayo ng ice table. Okay, nasan yung mouse? Ayan, ice table. Nalalasahan ko pa yung burger. Okay, so kapag binigay initial, hinahanap equilibrium, gawa agad kayo ice table. Okay, let me demonstrate how you will construct it. So una, you write the reaction sa taas. Okay, so this is your cis in equilibrium with the trans. Okay, ayusin ko lang. Okay, so that is your cis and equilibrium with the trans, and then you'll create rows below it, no? So you create a row for initial, for the change, and the equilibrium. Okay, so again, initial, change, equilibrium. Okay, do not forget that. So gagawa tayo ng table. Oops, nawala. Yan. Ganito ginagawa parate, ha? Okay, so you have your reaction on the top and then you write the table. Initial, change, equilibrium. And now, I'll change my ball pen into blue. Okay. So, initial. Kung ano yung sinabi na concentration, you plug it into your table. Okay? According to the problem, yung cis isomer, it is 0.850. So, lagay ko dito, 0.850 molar. Paano po kapag hindi yan molarity? E di kunin mo yung molarity. Okay? O kunin mo pa yung molarity. So, yan yung cis, 0.850. May sinabi ba about trans? Okay? Of course naman, walang sinabi about trans, no? Yun lang yung nasa sentence, eh. So, kapag walang sinabi, you write 0 agad, okay? So, ganun lang ka-simple. Kung ano given, yun lang isusulat. Pag hindi sinabi, 0 yan. Okay? Ganun lang ka-simple. Ngayon, you proceed with the next one, the C, or the change. No? At tanungin ko kayo, given yung initial concentration na yan, which side will increase in concentration? Or which side will decrease in concentration? Sino kaya madadagdagan? Sino kaya mababawasan? Yung reactant side, yung kay cis, o yung product side? Sino ang mababawasan? What do you think? What do you think? Sino kaya mababawasan? Si reactant, si product. Sino yung mababawasan? Diba, magbabago yan. So, initial, then may magbabago until it reaches equilibrium. By just looking at the number, sino yung mababawasan sa tingin niyo? The reactant will decrease and the product will increase ba? Okay, so tama yon. Okay. O ganito lang. Siguro ano na lang, simple ano na lang, reasoning. Di ba wala kang product? So, paano yun mababawasan? Wala nga siya, di ba? So, ganun na lang isipin nyo. Kung wala kang amount ng product, edi, paano mababawasan yun? Yung sabihin, yung reactant talaga yung mababawasan. And then yung product, yung madadagdagan. Okay? The proper way of determining the change is to use this thing, yung ginagawa natin, yung Q and K. Pero minsan kailangan mo na lang ng yung simple logic na lang. Wala kang amount ng product. So, paano mababawasan yan? Wala nga siya, di ba? Ibig sabihin, it is correct that the reactant will decrease and the product will increase. Okay? So, ganun na lang ha. So, minsan you don't really need to complicate everything na. Okay? Especially kung zero yung isang side. Kung saan yung zero, edi dun madadagdagan. Yung non-zero, yun yung mababawasan. Okay? So, ganun ha. So, meaning, kung nasan yung zero, siya yung madadagdagan. So, positive yung change doon. And kung sino yung hindi zero, siya yung mababawasan. Okay? So, ganun ha. Ano na lang, gamitan nyo na lang ng simple logic. Okay? Hindi mababawasan si trans kasi wala nga siya. Si cis, pwede siya bawasan. Okay? Ito yung next question. Now we know the direction of the reaction is to the product side. The big question is, by how much will they change? Gaano karami mababawas? Gaano karami madadagdag? So, ano sagot natin? O, yun yung sinabi ko earlier. We use an unknown variable, x. Bakit? The x will represent the change in concentration. I don't know kasi kung ano yung value ng x or gaano karami mababawas or madadagdag. So, I can just let x, to be my change of concentration. Okay? So, nafe-feel nyo na ba yung gagawin natin mamaya? Mukhang magko-quadratic tayo. Mag-algebra tayo. Okay? Mamaya pa pala yung quadratic. Okay? Mag-algebra tayo later, ha? Okay. So again, for the change, sometimes you just need to apply basic reasoning. Kapag walang sinabing products, edi siya yung madadagdagan. Okay? So, ganun. Kung walang sinabing amount, yun yung madadagdagan. And then the other side of the reaction, sila yung mababawasan. Okay? So, ayan. By the way, before we proceed with the equilibrium, I'd like to inform you muna that, kunwari, if you have a coefficient here, let's say 3 cis 2 trans, okay, o kunwari may 3 cis 2 trans ka na, ito ay i-include mo rin sa change, okay, so lalagay mo rin siya 3 and then 2, okay. square root of tsaka pa rin, sir. Si Lance alam na eh. Sa lab kasi yan eh. For other students na hindi sa lab ko. Ayun. Nakukwento ba sa inyo yung square root of tsaka? Ayan. Anyway. Kung gusto nyo malaman, pwede naman kayo manood ng lab classes. Okay? So again, anyway, kunwari may coefficient ka, you have to include them, no? So kunwari may 5 ka dyan, so gagawin mong 5x. Kunwari may ano ka dyan, 1.5, ilagay mo 1.5x. Okay? So basta may stoichiometric coefficient, you include it. Huwag mo kakalimutan. Okay? So that is just by the law of conservation of mass. Kaya yung coefficients, isasama mo rin. Okay? Dito may 2. Nilagay mo 2x. Okay? Negative 2x. Okay? So, lucky for us, ang coefficients natin ay wala. So, tigi-isa lang sila. For the E, that's equilibrium. Basically, pagsasamahin mo lang yung I pati C. Okay? Just combine them. Okay? So, that will be 0.850 minus x. And then for the trans, 0 plus x is x. Ayun. Ganun lang. Okay? So again, let me summarize kung ano ginawa natin. You write the reaction on top, and then on the left side, below it, you write ICE. I is initial, C is change, E is equilibrium. Initial refers to the initial concentration. Okay? So, kung ano sinabi, yun lang isusulat. Pag walang sinabi, 0. Okay? For the change, this is the direction of the reaction. Okay? So, kung merong 0 dyan, okay, so anyway, so kung merong 0 dyan, edi dun papunta yung change. No? Dun positive yung change. And then yung non-zero, edi dun negative yung change. Okay? So, ganun. And then E, equilibrium, basically you just combine the I and the C, initial and the change. So 0.85 minus x, 0 plus x, which is x. Then ano susunod? Okay, so yan ang equilibrium concentration. Okay, so yan na yun. Okay, equilibrium concentration yan. But the problem is, may unknown variable ka eh. May x ka. So ano gagawin mo sa x mo? Hanapin mo. Okay? So, yung x value na yan, you have to look for ano ba yung equivalent number niya. Okay? So, to identify the value of x, what we need to do is this. We will plug in the equilibrium expressions, this and that. Okay? So, we will plug them into our K equation, okay, or the equilibrium constant. Okay? So, what's Kc for the equation? So, numerator yung product, denominator yung reactant. Okay? Ayan. Okay? And then, ano gagawin mo? Yung iyong equilibrium expressions, we call it expression kasi sabi ng algebra, kapag may mga unknown variable, expression tawag doon. Diba? So, these two equilibrium expressions, asan yung mouse? Ayun. So, we need to place them here. Okay? So, plug in natin doon. Okay? Even the equilibrium constant K, plug in na natin. So, that will be 24.0. Okay? And then, for the trans, that's X. For the Cs, that is 0.850 minus X. And then, ano susunod na gagawin? Now, you can do algebra na. Okay? So, you transpose the denominator to the right side. Okay? That will be 0.850 minus x equals x. May nahanap si x. Iba na lang hanapin niya, wag na yung x niya. Very toxic. Ayan na. So, distribute mo yan. So, calculate ko lang. So, 24 times 0.85. That's 20.4. Okay. Minus 24 times x, edi 24x. Okay. And then, ano susunod? Yung 24x, lipat mo on the other side. Okay? Lipat mo to the other side. So that will become 20.4 equals 24x plus x. Ito, same sila ng x na. So, pwede mo ipag-add yung kanilang coefficients. So, 24x plus x, 25x. Okay? So, pwede mo i-add yung coefficients, ha? Okay. That will become 25x. 20.4x. Divide mo na lang by 25. And then you'll get the answer. So, x is 0.816. Nakabisa na eh. Paulit-ulit na kasi this week. Ayan. Okay. So, 0.816. Okay. And yan na yung value ng x natin. Okay. Ayan na yung x natin. Okay. So, yan pala yung value ng x. Pero that is not the answer yet. Because, again, you are asked the equilibrium concentration. Ang nasolve mo lang is yung x. So, ang gagawin mo, you plug it into your equations. Na? Plug in mo siya. So, meaning, at equilibrium, okay, at equilibrium, ayan, yung cis mo, that's 0.85 minus 0.816. Okay, and then yung trans, edi yun na yun mismo, 0.816. Kasi x lang siya eh. So, yun na yan. Yung ating cis minus x. So, ito yan. Okay? So, pindutin sa calcu, 0.85 minus 0.816. Subtract. The answer is, ayan, 0.34. Okay? So, that is the equilibrium concentrations. Okay? So, yan. Siguro familiar na kayo dito sa laboratory na. Okay lang yan. The reason why na late tayo is yung mga suspension kasi. Chapter 4 na sana tayo this week kung walang flare. Okay. Okay? So, yan. Dali lang na. So, if you know this already, that's better. Okay? Pero I'll just go with the material na lang na. Okay. By the way, yung part 2 ng laboratory nyo, i-asynchronous yun. So, basically, ako gagawa ng chapter 4, synchronous and asynchronous discussions. So, makikita nyo na naman ako next week. Okay? So, always remember, a week prior to our exams, nag-asynchronous tayo. Okay, ganun lang ka-simple. Let's try this next problem. Let's try this next problem. A mixture of 0.75 mole of H2, 0.75 mole of I2 was placed in a 1 liter vessel, steel flask, at 430 degrees Celsius. The equilibrium constant for Kc for the reaction is 54.3 at this temperature. Calculate the concentration of H2, I2, and HI at equilibrium. So, yan. Sabi sa problem, binigay yung initial amounts, hanapin yung equilibrium. Pag ganun yung uri ng problem mo, ano gagawin mo? Maghanap ng X. Gawa ka ice table. Okay? So, pag binigay initial, nahanap equilibrium, gawa agad ice table. Okay? So, susulat ako ng ice table uli sa gilid. So, you copy the reaction. Okay, so H2 plus I2 in equilibrium with 2HI. And then, sulat natin ice. Ice. Baby, ganun. Yan, so ice. Gusto nang gagawin? Lagyan mo yan ng ganyan. Nung face-to-face, pag ganito yung lesson namin, yung paggawa ng table, may points. Yung paggawa ng K, may points. Pero ngayon, wala ng points. Final answer na lang. Dinoble line ko yung equilibrium arrow so that alam ko na products itong nasa kabila. Yan. Dino-double line ko talaga yung madalas sa notes ko. Ano sabi? Initial concentration. So, what is my initial concentration? So, sabi dyan, 0.75 mole, 0.75 mole. Ipa-plug in ko ba agad yon? Not that fast, no? Kasi tingnan nyo, mole yung binigay eh. So, anong gagawin mo? Pag mole binigay, hanapin mo yung concentration. And just divide it by the volume, okay? So, 0.75 mole divided by 1 liter is 0.75 molar. Okay? Maswerte tayo kasi yung ating volume 1 liter lang. Okay? So basically, pwede na siya gawing molar. Ito din, pwede gawing molar na. Kasi 1 liter lang naman yung volume. Okay? So, ganun. So, I'll plug it na dito. Okay? HI, may sinabi ba about HI? Walang sinabi. So, edi 0. Okay? Pag walang sinabi, 0. Okay? Ito, question ko uli sa inyo. Change. Sino madadagdagan? Sino mababawasan? Reactants? Products? Ano sagot niya? Sino madadagdagan? Sino mababawasan? Is it the reactant, the product? What's your answer? Tignan natin kung na-copy yung sinabi ko kanina. Sino ang madadagdagan? Sino ang mababawasan? Madadagdagan yung product. Bakit madadagdagan yung product? Kasi tama yan. Pero bakit? Kasi 0 siya. Okay? Natandaan, ano na lang. Okay? So, for simplicity, imbes na mag-solve ka ng direction ng reaction, edi, kung saan na lang may 0, dun yung madadagdagan. Okay? So, yan. Okay? So, yan. Madadagdagan siya. So, meaning yung reactants mo, asan yung mouse? Ayan. So, yung reactants mo, parehas silang mababawasan. Okay? Parehas silang negative. Yung pagdating sa HI, positive na yan. Okay? Yan. Negative, positive. Tapos, anong gagawin ka? By how much will they change? I don't know. Okay? So, di ko alam. Di X. Okay? Pag di alam X, yan. Ano pa yung nakakalimutan ko? Sige. May kulang ako dyan sa ginawa ko. What do you think is missing? Coefficient ng product. Correct. Okay? So, kulang ako ng coefficient kasi. Okay, so mag-ingat dun ha. Okay, so lagyan natin siya ng 2. Okay, so yan. So good. And then for the equilibrium, basically just combine them. Okay, so 0.75 minus x, 0.75 minus x. So this one will be 0 plus 2x, edi 2x. And now, you have that already. Ang gagawin mo na, you solve for x. How? You write the equilibrium constant first. Let's write the equilibrium constant. Nawawala ang mouse. Asan yung mouse? Ayun. Okay, so let's write equilibrium constant Kc equals products over reactants. Huwag kakalimutan. So Hi squared. And then sa denominator, so yung reactants andon. So H2 and then I2. And then plug in whatever you have, no? So for the Kc 54.3, for the equilibrium concentrations, I have this expression. So lahat yan ipa-plug in ko doon. Okay? So that will be 54.3. And then in the numerator, I have 2x. No? So this will be 2x square. Pareha sila naka-square ha. Okay, kasi sa nasa labas ng parenthesis yung 2 eh. So 2x close quantity squared. Okay? And then yung H2I2, okay, so it's parehas na 0.75 minus x. Okay, ayan. At tas ano na gagawin natin? Solve for x. Okay. So, anong gagawin natin? Algebra. Okay, so may nakita kang binomial. Ang gagawin mo sa binomial, lalagay mo siya saan? Ano gagawin mo sa kanya? Anong method yon yung ginagamit for binomial? We use what method? Anong method yan? Foil method. Okay? Lagyan mo ng foil. Okay? Isipin mo. Ayan. So, ano ulit meaning ng foil? First, outer, inner, last. Okay? So, multiply the first term, the outer terms, the inner terms, and then the last terms. O, diba? Kala nyo, nilubayan na kayo ng ano, no? Algebra. Hindi. Ganun talaga. Okay? So, you do the FOIL method and then sagutan natin siya. Okay? So, I'll copy everything muna. By the way, yung numerator, it's 2x then squared. So, bali, it's 4x squared. Okay? So, 4x squared na yung numerator natin. Okay? Bakit ganun? Kasi remember, if you have exponent sa labas ng parenthesis, that will also be distributed to them, no? So 2 square, x square, so that's 4x square. May ibang student kasi na nakakalimutan is square din to. Okay? So that's wrong. So you have to do it properly because otherwise you'll get wrong answers. Doon na tayo sa binomial of FOIL natin. So for the first term, that's 0.75 times 0.75. The answer is 5625. Okay? So 0.5625. Tapos na yung first term. Susunod, outer terms. Okay? 0.75 times negative x. Kasama yung negative ha. Okay. So 0.75 times negative x. So it will be negative 0.75x. And then inner terms. Okay, so for the inner terms, I have negative x times 0.75. So ganun pa rin. Okay. And then lastly, I have negative x times negative x. That will be positive x square. Okay? So ganun. Tapos ano pa? Yung ating x, pwede sila pagsamahin. Okay? Yan. Parehas kasi silang x. So, pwede mo pagsamahin yan. 0.75 plus 0.75. 1.5. Okay? So, that will be negative 1.5x. Ba't ko pinagsama? Kasi parehas lang sila ng x. Okay? I can just simply add their coefficients. Bakit po 1.5? Kasi nga, 0.75 plus 0.75, 1.5. Okay? Negative nga lang. Okay, ayan. Tapos na tayo sa FOIL method. Tapos na tayo gumamit ng FOIL. Ano susunod na gagawin? Algebra na. Okay, so I will transpose this to the other side. Ayan, so this to the other side. Okay, lagay natin siya doon. Dito, maging careful ha. Okay. Kasi may mga nagkakamali dito. Pagpalitin ko na lang sila ha. Dito na yung 4x square. Tapos dito na yung 54.3. Kasi hindi kasya dito sa left space eh. Ayan. Tapos anong gagawin? Distribute. Distribute. Donate. Sabi ng classmate ko nung high school, donate daw. Tapos kapag transpose, tawag niya doon, evacuate. Sabi niya, gagawin niya, evacuate eh. Ganun. Until now, naaalala ko pa rin siya. Donate daw natin yung multiplier. Okay? 54.3 times 0.5625. Di kaya yan ng isip ko. So, calculate na natin. 54.3, 0.5625. So, ito yung number. Huwag kang mag-round off. Okay? Pinagbabawal mag-round off. So, copy everything. 30,54375. 30,54375. 30,54375. Saan susunod? Okay, so tapos na ako sa first. Yan. Ang susunod, 54.3 times negative 1.5. So, ano yan? 54.3 times 1.5. 81.45. Pero negative. And then lastly, 54.3 times positive x square. That will be 54.3x square. And then, ano susunod na gagawin? Hindi pa tayo tapos. Wala pa tayo sa mismong exciting part. Okay. Susunod na gagawin, you write the polynomial in this manner. Okay. So, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay. So, highest degree first bago yung walang degree. Okay. Sana all may degree. Sabi ni kahapon. Andun ba kayo nun? Yung mga face-to-face, alam ko nagsipuntahan dun eh. Kung face-to-face lang tayo, baka andun din ako. Anyway. Ayan, ay unahin yung mga may degree. Yung mga walang degree, ihuli mo na. Okay? So, ayan. You arrange everything muna. So, ito, evacuate mo doon. Transpose mo doon. So, as you transpose it, it becomes negative, no? Okay. So, now, negative 4x squared. And then, arrange them from highest degree to lowest degree. Okay? Yung x square muna. So, 54.3 x square minus 4x square. Then, susunod yung x lang. Minus 81.45x. And then, lastly, yung coefficient lang. Okay? 30.54375. Ayan, nakakapagod. Okay? Ayan, malapit na tayo. Don't worry. Itong x square, pwede natin sila pagsamahin. Okay? As long as their coefficients are the same. Their x values same lang sila. Okay? Nakakalimutan ko na yung term sa algebra. So, pwede natin pagsamahin yan. So, 54.3 minus 4. So, which is 50.3 na lang. Okay? So, 50.3 minus that. Okay? Rewrite ko ha. Kapag may question, clarification, let me know lang. Yan. Ayan. Ano nagagawin mo? Okay. So, typically, kapag you have polynomial such as this one, na raised to 2 yung exponent, gagawin mo is the quadratic equation. So, ano yung purpose ng quadratic equation? To solve for the roots, right? Pero tayo ay tamad. So, ituturo ko yung shortcut. Kasi if you do the long cut, ako ay medyo nagugutom na. So, wag na natin gawin yung long cut. Maraming gagawin dun eh. Ito yan eh. B square minus 4AC over 2A. Ayan. So, yung long method, pa-plugin mo yung A, yung B, yung C. Yung una, positive muna, then mamaya, negative. Okay? Kaya siya plus minus. Pero nakakatamad. So, tuturuan ko kayo ng shortcut. That's why I'm urging you to have calculator na Casio. So, ito talaga yung pinaka-reason bakit gusto namin ganito yung calcu nyo. Okay? So, such as this one. Yan. Kaya kung wala kayo niyan, ito, download na kayo. Casio ClassWiz Calc app. Kamakailan lang to na-release, no? Nag-start na yung SEM natin, dun lang siya na-release. Ayan. Hindi ko na-release na sana yun, di na ako 800 din bili ko dito sa software na to, activation. Tapos lately lang pala maano yan. No. Cancel lang. Okay. Libre lang pala, no? Nakakainis. Kasi sana yung 800 na yung pang ano ko, no? Pang sangyup, 2 beses. Anyway. So, gagawin natin yung quadratic equation using calculator. So, if you don't have any calculator yet na Casio, download na kayo. ASAP para masabayan nyo ako. For those with Casio calculator, alam nyo na siguro gagawin. But let me demonstrate it for those na may questions pa rin in mind. Okay? So what's the reason why we arrange the polynomial with highest degree first? No? Kasi yung highest degree, that will have a coefficient of A. So ibig sabihin itong 50.3, yun yung A natin doon. Okay? At the same time, yung B, that is the coefficient of X term, including the negative sign. Okay? And then yung C, yung number lang, that will be your C. Ito yung pina-plug in natin sa quadratic equation. Okay? So, yan yung negative B plus minus square root of B square minus 4AC over 2A. So, yun yung mga B, A, pati C. Pero sabi ko nga, tamad tayo. So, let's use our calculator to do its job. Okay? So, kung wala pa kayo nito, paki-download na. This is meron nito in App Store and Play Store. Okay? For those with ClassWiz calculators, ito na. Sabay-sabay tayo pumindot. Also, Ash Wednesday pala yesterday, no? Yan, share ko lang. Wala na akong alam sa mga nangyayari sa paligid natin eh. So, we're going to solve for the roots kasi kailangan natin ng x value, right? So, tamad tayo. So, gamitin natin calcu natin. So, gagawin nyo, you press mode. Okay, press this button, mode. If you are using ClassWiz, you're going to select menu, okay? So, tingin kayo dito sa aking, yan, camera. So, if you're using ClassWiz, you press menu instead. Okay? So, hindi siya mode, it's menu. So, press that, and you see here, you have the EQN. Ayan, equation. Okay? So, you press 5 for the equation. And you will be given this options. No? Ano gagawin natin dito? Hanapin mo yung yung ax squared plus bx plus c, which is obviously yung number 3. Okay? So, ano uli gagawin? So, you press mode, equation, then hanapin mo yung ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? So, you press number 3, and there you have it. No? So, ilalagay mo na lang yung a, yung b, and then yung c. For those using ClassWiz, okay, so I'll stop sharing muna. Yan. Para sa gumagamit ng ClassWiz, this is what you're going to do. Okay. So in your calcu, you press the menu, and then may mga pictures ka dyan. You scroll down twice. So 1, 2. Okay. So after scrolling down, may makita kayo dito na xy equals 0. Yeah. So xy equals 0. That is the equation function. So, gagawin mo dyan, you press equal sign to access that. Okay? And then, you will be given 2 questions. No? Ang tanong dyan, simultaneous equation or polynomial. Sa gravimetry, simultaneous equation ginagamit namin. But for this problem, equilibrium, we use polynomial. Okay? So, you press 2. Ang daming pinipindot dito eh. Okay. So, after pressing 2, tinanong ka na naman. Sabi dyan, polynomial degree. Okay, ano daw degree ng polynomial? When you say degree, that's the highest exponent. Okay, in our case, that's 2. Okay? So, press 2. Andyan, may lalabas ka na. Parang nasa screen ko kanina. Okay? A quick survey. Who among you are in that screen na? Yung may ganito na nakikita. So, who among you are in this screen na? Okay. So, si Denise, okay na siya. How about the others? Justin. Sige. Pag nahirapan uli mag-access, let me know, ha? Okay. So, now I have A, B, C. Okay. Ang gagawin ko na lang is to plug in 50.3, negative 81.45, and 30.54375. Okay. That's easy lang. You just type 50.3, press equal sign. Ayun, na-lock na doon yung value niya. Okay. Oopsie, hala, mali. Okay, so 50.3. And then for the B, it's negative 81.45. Okay. Negative 81.45. And then for C, and that's positive 30.54375. And And then confirm yung mga tinype nyo. So 50.3, negative 81.45, and 35.375. Okay? Sino yung tapos na dyan? Press your like button na lang. Like button kung tapos na. Okay. Again, if you're having difficulty, let me know so I can assist you. Now, now, anong gagawin niya? You press equal sign, and by pressing equal sign, you will get the values of x. Okay? You will get the roots. So, pindutin mo yung equal sign. That's your first root. Okay? So, copy ko na lang 3 decimal places. So, 1029. So, that's the first root. Okay? 1.029. And the second root, 0.5589. So, round off mo, 590. Okay, 0.590. Ayan. So, ano na ito? Ito na yung x na hinahanap natin. Because if you do quadratic equation, matagal. Pa-plug in ka pa ng b square minus 4ac 2a. But look now, with calculator, you can easily get the roots. Okay? Bakit dalawa yung root, no? You might ask. O yung minimum, maximum, wag nyo napansinin yan. Sa calculus yan eh. Okay? But anyway, so bakit ba dalawa yung roots in the first place? Because algebra says, no, according to math, the degree of your polynomial tells you how many root you have. Okay? So, kunwari, if that is x raised to 1 lang, so it will pass through the x-axis only once. Okay? Isang beses lang siya sa tatama sa x-axis. Pero if that is x squared, dalawang beses yung tatama sa x-axis. Okay? If yan ay x cubed, edi tatlo. Okay? Pag x raised to 4, edi 4. Okay? So, yun lang yung idea, no? So, the highest degree tells you how many roots you have. The root literally means yun yung part ng graph na nag-pass through sa x-axis. Okay? Anyway, too much theory na. So, dalawa value ng x natin. And these are concentration. Mga molarity yan. Pero ano gagamitin natin dito? Okay? Is it 1.029 or is it 0.59? What do you think? Ano kaya sa tingin nyo yung maganda gamitin? Sino yung x1? Sino sa x2? Raise of hands tayo, ha? Sino boto sa x1? Siya yung gagamitin. Press like button. Wala. Sige, sino gusto x2? Press like button. Wala din. Wala tayong gagamitin. Dalawa value ng x. Sino sa tingin nyo yung gagamitin natin? Siguro itatanong yan, sir, isa lang ba gagamitin? Yes, isa lang. But the question is, sino kaya yung dapat gamitin? Okay. Another round ng polling. Okay. Sino dito feeling niya x1 yung gagamitin? Press like button kung feel nyo x1. Okay. Sino dito feeling nila x2 yung gagamitin? Sino dito yung walang idea kung anong gagamitin? Press like button. Sino yung walang idea? Sino dito nahihiya? Feeling ko nahihiya yung iba. Okay. So, ganito. You will always get multiple x values. Okay? Unlike kanina, kasi in the problem earlier, ang highest degree mo ay 1 lang. So, x raised to 1. So, isa lang talaga value ng x mo. But in this problem, we have two roots, no? Kasi x square yung highest degree natin. Mapapaisip ka, no? Sino kaya ang gagamitin? Ganito ang criteria. Una, okay, case 1. If yung isang root ay positive, ang isang root ay negative, choose the positive root. Okay? So, ganun ha. So, that's the case 1. If you're given two roots, one is positive, the other is negative, always choose the positive root. Okay? Kasi ang problem natin dito, parehas silang positive eh. So, ano yun? Case 2 tayo. If yan ay parehas na positive root, make sure that it will not result in negative concentration. Okay? Will not result in negative concentrations. So again, case 1, yung dalawang root, pwede positive, pwede negative. Kapag ganon, piliin mo yung positive always. But in our case here, we have two positive roots, no? So, sino gagamitin mo? So, ang gagamitin mo na x value is the one that will not result in a negative concentration when you plug them into our ice table. So, kailangan pag plinag in siya, hindi siya magre-result sa negative concentration. Now, I will ask you again. Sa dalawang roots, sino ang better? I-type nyo sa chat box yung answer nyo. Okay? Tandaan, kapag parehas dalawa yung root, parehas positive yung roots, dapat pag plinag-in nyo siya dito sa equilibrium, it will not be negative. Sino sa dalawang roots yung magbibigay ng hindi negative na concentration? Okay, isusubtract mo ito doon, isusubtract mo ito doon. Tignan nyo, sino yung hindi negative? Si second value. Correct yun. So meaning, since the second value yung nagbigay ng positive na concentration, siya yung gagamitin natin. Okay? So ganun lang. Bakit natin i-discard yung x1? Kasi nga, pag plinag-in mo yon, so tignan nyo sa calcu, 0.75, sorry. Kung gusto nyo bumalik sa original, press shift, clear, 3 equal sign. Okay? So again, press shift, clear, 3 equal sign. Shift 93 equal sign. Okay, kasi tignan nyo, no? 0.75 minus first root, 1.029. Sorry, times pala yan. Pag subtractin natin, look, naging negative yung concentration. Walang negative na concentration. Ay, nangutang pa, no? Walang ganan. Okay? So, kailangan, yung roots natin is yung positive lang. Okay? Which is yung second root. So, 0.75 minus 0.59, that will give us 0.16. So, meaning, if I plug in x2 here, x2 here, and x2 here, my equilibrium concentrations are 0.75 minus 0.59, ang sagot doon ay 0.16 molar. Ito din, 0.16 molar. And then this one will be 0.32. Sorry, mali. 1.59 times 2. So 1.18 molar. Okay? Yun ang equilibrium concentration ni HI at equilibrium ni I2 at equilibrium and ni H2 at equilibrium. Okay? Ang galing, di ba? Yun. Ang galing. Ganun lang. Di ba hindi na tayo nag-quadratic? Pindot-pindot lang sa calcu. Then, depending on the results, ayan, iba-iba yung pwede natin gawing interpretation. If it's a positive, yung sa negative, kunin mo yung positive. If pareha sila positive, kunin mo yung lesser, yung x value. Okay? So, ganun. So, ako, based on experience, I've been doing this since, kailan ba ako nag-start ng equilibrium? Alam ko, third year high school ako, ganito na rin kami. Pero basic lang. Kumbaga, third year high school, para siyang junior high school. Wala kaming STEM that time. 2 years after ko graduate, dun lang nagka-STEM. So, yun. Yeah. Nung third year high school ako, may ganito na kami. So, part ng old curriculum. Kaya maganda yung curriculum dati. Alam na namin to pagdating ng college. But in the current K-12 curriculum, this is for STEM students only. Kaya if you are from other strands, medyo mahirapan ka talaga at first. Okay? So, yun lang. Mas maganda yung curriculum dati. Ayan. Ganun lang ka-easy, na? Ayan. Dali ng life, na? So, ganyan yung gagawin nyo sa laboratory, no? But in the laboratory, acid-base yung focus nyo, no? So, sa mga lab students ko dito, okay, section 1 and section 3 sa lab, alam na nila yon, yung mga square root of tsaka, okay, cha over ka, ganun. So, yun. Pero kung hindi ko kayo student sa lab, so, tanungin nyo na lang sila, what does that mean? Okay. Pero meron kaming meron kaming mga terms sa classroom namin na kami-kami lang nakakaalam. Okay? So, ganun lang ka-easy ang calculation. Okay? Ito sa lab to, nakalimutan ko i-delete. Until now, di ko siya dinidelete. Hindi ko alam kung bakit. Okay, patapos na pala tayo. Anyway, before we proceed with the last part of the discussion, let's have this muna, reminder. Nasa Canvas na yung answers. Okay? Sorry, worksheet na. So, just go to modules. And then, bandang baba, may answers na. May worksheet dito. Okay? You can practice that. May answers na naman yan. So, yan. Pero if you think na may question pa dito, let me know lang. By the way, may utang pa pala ako sa isang classmate niya. Hindi ko pa siya nare-replyan. Babalikan ko na lang yung question mo, ha? After this classes, no? Kasi ako ay nagko-conduct ng research. Research kami ng mga bata. Kaya medyo na busy din. Pero I'll give the answer to your questions later. Okay? Ayan. Anyway, so ano na ba? Ayan, so basically, marami dyang equilibrium problems that you can try with explanation na rin, and then solving. Ayan. In case na feeling nyo may questionable things pa rin, just let me know lang. I will be able to respond to you kapag medyo lumuwag na schedule ko, na. Just so happened na medyo hectic lang din this week. Hopefully by weekend, maluwag na uli yung schedule ko. Okay? So, yan. You can try that, na. Ayun. Also, I made this announcement, problem set 2. By the way, kung nag-submit na kayo, pwede kayong mag-resubmit ulit. Only submission naman yan. Okay. So, for item 2.20, okay, so ito yung equation, di ba? KCl, MgCl2, 6H2O. So, ang hinahanap yung KCl, MgCl2 lang. So, the stoichiometric relationship between them is 1:1 lang. Okay? And then for item 2.31, the equation is not given, pero ito yun. Okay? So, sodium carbonate plus perchloric acid gives you sodium perchlorate, carbon dioxide, and water. And that is unbalanced, so you can just simply balance it na lang. Okay? And that will help you answer the problems, especially 2.20. Okay? And then also, before the midterms, no, kapag nagpasa na lahat ng problem set, okay, hopefully before midterms, no, kapag pasa lahat ng problem set, I'll give you the solution to the prob sets 2 to 4. Naka-type na siya dito, isa-send ko na lang sa inyo once na mag-submit na lahat. Okay? So, yun. Including sa lab, no? So, yung home lab, especially sa statistics, no? So, upload ko rin yun dun. Basta magpasa. Okay? Anyway, so yan. We're almost done. Okay, so punta na tayo sa last part of our discussion. Okay, so ito wala nang calculation masyado. Just the concept lang. So now, let's talk about equilibrium systems. Now, when we have an equilibrium system, everything is balanced. No? So imagine, ikaw ay kasama mo ang iyong partner. May kasama kang friend. Kayo ay nasa seesaw. Okay? So, ikaw ito, siya ayan. Okay? So, yan. May balance na. What if biglang may umepal? Biglang may nakiride. Sabi niya, "Uy, sama ako." What will happen? The balance will get disrupted, no? So, kunwari, in this diagram, yung seesaw, bibigat to. Patatabingin na siya. Tapos kayo, lulutang na kayo. Okay? So, in order for the system to achieve balance ulit, something has to be done. Okay? Okay. Para bumalik uli kayo sa balance. Okay? So, kailangan may gawin. In chemical systems, ganun din, no? When there are external changes that you apply into your equilibrium system, the system will automatically find a new balance. Okay? Gahanap siya ng panibagong balance so that ma-re-establish ang equilibrium. Okay? We call that Le Chatelier principle. Okay? So the Le Chatelier principle is a set of statements that describes how the equilibrium system will adjust if there are external stresses. No? So ano ba yung external stresses in chemical equilibrium? So it could either be changes in the concentration of the substances. Suppose you have a chemical equilibrium, tapos nagdagdag ka ng another amount of reactant or product, madi-disrupt yan. Okay? So, yan. That's one form of stress for chemical systems. Baguhin mo yung concentration, o kaya baguhin mo temperature. So, if you change the temperature, you will also induce problems to your equilibrium system. Okay? Pag binago mo yung pressure and volume, so maapektuhan din yung gases, to be more specific. And lastly, yan, baguhin mo temperature, yan na yan. Okay? So those are the factors that could affect the equilibrium system. And the Chatelier principle gives us the possible outcomes when the system suffers from that stress. So, ano yung mga mangyayari daw? So, first type of stress is the change in concentration. Okay? So, kunwari, may iced tea ka, tapos naglagay ka na naman ng panibagong iced tea powder. So, parang ganun yung sa chemical equilibrium system natin. So, may mga chemicals na balance doon. So, nagdagdag ka na naman ng panibago. What will happen? Let's read. So, for the changes in concentration, sabi dyan, increasing the concentration of the products shifts the equilibrium to the left. Decreasing the concentration of products shifts the equilibrium to the right. So, ano meaning nun? Okay. So, ganito lang. Sabi ni Le Chatelier, kung saan ka magdagdag ng chemicals, okay, sa opposite side mapupunta yung reaction. Okay? So, how will we visualize it? Okay. Bukod dyan sa GIF na nasa PowerPoint. So, siguro imagine to baso. Okay? May dalawa kang baso. Two clear plastic cups. Yan. And at the bottom, they are connected by a tube. Okay? Di ba kapag may tubing dyan sa ilalim, mag-equilibrium yung water level, right? So, kung ganito kataas yung water dyan, ganun din karami yung water done. Di ba? Okay. What will happen if I add more water dito? Okay? Pag nagdagdag ako ng water, ano mangyayari? Some of the water will get pushed to the other container kasi sobra na masyado sa left side. So, pupunta sa right side yung water to make sure that balance yung water level at the end of the change. Okay? So, ganun din dito. Maglalagay ako ng water dito. Pag sobrang taas na ng water dito, it will push the water to go to the other direction para magpantay uli yung kanilang water level. Now, imagine water level as the equilibrium system. We can regain equilibrium by pushing some chemicals to the opposite direction na para ma-achieve uli yung balance. Okay? Tignan natin itong dalawang masasayang test tube. Ito dinagdagan sa reactant. So, para nilagyan siya ng water dito. Ang gagawin niya, it will push some of the chemicals to the right. Okay? Pupush niya doon so that it will achieve the balance again. So, ganun din dito. Dinagdagan siya ng reactant. Dito naman dinagdag yung water. What will happen? The water will push other molecules to go to the left side. Okay? Kaya siya napunta doon. Okay? So, always remember, when you increase the concentration of one side, the direction of the reaction goes to the other side. Okay? So, increase in product, shift to the left. Increase in reactant, shift to the right. Okay? Papunta sa opposite side yung direction ng reaction. Kung saan dumami, sa kabila yung direction. Now, what will happen if you decrease naman? Okay? So, I was unable to find a GIF for that, na? Wala akong nakitang GIF niyan. Pero, let's use the water analogy na lang. So, again, you have two water containers and they are connected by the tube, no? Suppose, kuha ka ng tubig dito. Okay? So, bumaba na yung water level dyan. What will happen? So, pag binawasan ko yung left side, the water on the right side will be forced to go to the left side. Why? Para magpantay uli yung water level nila. Okay? Kasi yan, hindi sila pantay eh. So, ano gagawin ng tubig sa left side? It will be forced to go to the left. Okay? Para magpantay sila. Okay? So, meaning, if you decrease the reactant, okay? So, if you decrease the reactant amount, the reaction goes to left pa rin. Okay? So, to the left pa rin. If you decrease the amount of reactant, you go to the left. How about the product side? Okay? Suppose, dito naman sa right side, ikaw magbabawas. What will happen? The water on the left will push others to the right so that they can achieve new balance. Okay? So, by decreasing product, the reaction goes to the right. Okay? So, yun yung mismong concept ng Le Chatelier principle. So, kayo, if medyo nahirapan kayo to grasp it, I highly suggest you to try making this, yung cups na magkadugtong. Gamit kayo straw in between. Tapos, see to yourselves, na kapag nagdagdag ka sa left side, mapupunta sa right side yung tubig. Nagdagdag ka sa right side, mapupunta sa left side yung tubig. Okay? So that's how our chemical systems behave as well. So, in summary, adding concentration to one side of the reaction pushes the overall reaction to the opposite direction. Pag nagdagdag ka sa left, papunta sa right yung reaction. Pag nagdagdag ka sa right, papunta sa left yung reaction. Okay? And pag nagbawas ka, ganun din. Ay, sorry. Pag nagbawas ka, kung saan ka nagbawas, doon mapupunta yung reaction. So, nagbawas ka reactant, to the left yung reaction. Nagbawas ka ng product, to the right yung reaction. Okay? So, yan. Next one. So, next one, we have changes in pressure and volume. For aqueous solution, this is not a big issue. So, wala namang problema kapag aqueous yung solution. But for gases, meron. Okay? Because, gases are compressible. Therefore, you can either expand it or contract it. You can increase or decrease the pressure. And depending on the chemical reaction that is happening, one side might be favored over the other. Okay? So may isang side ng reaction na baka mas favored siya kaysa sa other side. Okay? So basahin natin. For gases, an increase in pressure favors the net reaction that decreases the total number of moles of gas. Ano meaning nun? So, ganito lang sabi niya. You look into your chemical equation. Suppose this all are in gaseous phase. Pare-pare silang gas. So, gas yan, gas ito, gas ito. Ang gagawin nyo daw is to count the moles of the gases in reactant and product side. So, in reactant, I have 2 moles of gases. In the product, I have 1 mole of gas. Okay? So, bakit naging 2 moles to? Kasi I have 1 mole of A, I have 1 mole of B. So, 1 plus 1, 2. Galing na. Yan. Sa other side, isa lang molecule ko ng gas. So, 1 mole lang siya. So, ano sabi dito? Sabi dyan, so if you increase the pressure, you favor the side with less mole of gas. So, increasing the pressure will favor the less moles of gas. So, hindi fix yan kung reactant o product. Okay, it depends on saan side yung less yung mole ng gas. So, as we increase pressure for this chemical system, you will favor the right side. Kasi yung right side, siya yung mas maraming, siya yung mas onti yung less moles of gas. Okay? Tignan natin tong diagram kung totoo. So, by increasing the pressure, you push the piston. Look at what will happen. Dadami yung black. Ayun. Dadami yung black kasi by increasing the pressure, less moles of gas yung preferred. Siguro, to prevent molecular collision. Okay? Kaya, nagko-combine talaga sila. Okay? Kapag decrease in pressure naman daw, you favor more moles of gases. Okay? Okay, so opposite naman. If you increase the pressure, less mole of gas ang favored. Kapag decrease in pressure, you favor more mole of gases. Tignan uli natin tong GIF natin. Okay. Antayin lang natin siya tignan mo, pag hinila yung piston, what will happen? It will favor more moles of gases. So, you will see more of red and blue. Kasi ito yung mas maraming moles of gas. So, look at them. Dumami yung red and blue kaysa sa black. But if you increase the pressure, dadami yung black kasi yung less mole of gas. Okay? Ayun. Question is, how about the volume? Kapag volume naman, baliktad naman yung trend. So, kapag increase pressure, decrease volume. Pag decrease pressure, increase volume. Pero same pa rin yung outcomes. Bakit ganito yan? Dahil yan sa Boyle's Law. Si Charles Boyle ang dahilan. Kilala niya ba si Charles Boyle? Anyway, si Boyle. Ayan, siya yung may dahilan yan. Okay, so yan. Siguro nagtataka kayo, no? Sir, what if parehas yung mole ng gases? Pwede ba yun, sir? Pwede. Kunwari, parehas silang 2 moles. Ano mangyayari? Pag parehas yung moles ng gas, edi no effect. Okay? Same moles of gas, no effect. Kahit ano gawin mo dyan, walang mangyayari. But if the moles of gas are different, just like in our diagram here, dun mo makikita yung shift in equilibrium. The next one. Okay, the next one is the change in temperature. So ito medyo complicated to. So medyo complicated siya kasi there are two types of reactions. We have the endothermic and the exothermic. Okay, so endo meaning towards the system, exo meaning outwards the system. Okay, so papasok, endo, palabas, exo. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na endocytosis, di ba? Meron bang exocytosis? Not sure. So kapag yung heat papasok sa system, that's endothermic. Okay? So endothermic has an enthalpy value of positive numbers. Okay? While exothermic has an enthalpy value of negative values. Okay? Yung H na yan, it refers to heat. Okay? Pag negative yung heat, lalabas siya sa system. Ibig sabihin, iinit siya. Pag positive yung heat, papasok yung heat sa system. So, meaning, lalamig siya. Okay? So, bigyan ko kayo example ng exothermic reaction. Pag nasunog yung paper, that's exothermic. No? So, the heat is being released from the system, no, to you. Another example naman, pag endothermic reaction, ito yung anything na hinalo, tapos lumalamig. No? Let's say asin. Pag hinalo mo yun, endothermic yan eh. So anyway, so what's the trend? Sabi dito, a temperature increase favors an endothermic reaction and a temperature decrease favors an exothermic reaction. So what does that mean? Okay, so ganito lang. Pag sinabing favors the reaction, meaning, okay, gawa ako ng table summary to ha. Okay. So ito yung pinaka-summary niya. Medyo complicated siya, no? Pero don't worry, onti lang ganito sa quiz. Kasi hindi nyo naman kailangan to eh. Okay, ito. Gagawa ko ng summary table for you, no? Para mas madali nyong makita yung notes. Okay, so let's talk about endothermic reaction. Sabi dyan, a temperature increase favors endothermic reaction. What does it mean? So if you increase the temperature, pag sinabing favor, to the right. Okay? Okay? And kapag exothermic naman, okay, temperature decrease favors exothermic reaction. Pag binabaan mo daw yung temperature ng exothermic, to the right pa rin. Okay? So, yun. So, temperature decrease favors exothermic. So, to the right siya kapag exothermic. Tapos, nag-decrease ka ng temperature. Pero kapag endothermic, to the right siya if you increase the temperature. So, opposite yung trend nila. So, let me give you the explanation bakit ganyan, na. If endothermic kasing reaction, we imagine heat as reactant. Okay, we imagine heat as a reactant. Okay, and kapag exothermic, we imagine heat as a product. Okay, so let's say we have an endothermic reaction. Okay. Okay, so let's say A plus heat forming B. Okay. So again, pag endothermic, heat as reactant. Now, what will happen? Sabi diyan, if you increase the temperature, you increase the heat, it will push the reaction to the right. Hindi ba siya parang katulad ng changes in concentration? Kasi when you increase the heat, no, so tumataas yung heat energy. And for endothermic reaction, the heat energy is the reactant side. So sabi natin dito, when you increase the reactant side, it will push the reaction to the right. So parang ganito din yan, no? So by increasing the temperature, we increase the heat, therefore we push the reaction to the right. So yun yung explanation doon. So for exothermic reaction, kabaliktaran naman. Okay, exothermic reaction. Okay. Ang sabi dyan, if we decrease the heat, it will push the reaction to the right side. Ito din yun, no? Yung changes in concentration na yan. If we decrease the product, to the right yung reaction. Okay? So, decreasing the temperature means that you decrease the heat, no, of the system. So, magbabago yung direction niya. To the right siya. Okay? So, yun yung reason. So, basically, changes in concentration lang din. Okay? So, meaning we can completely fill out this table. So, for endothermic, increase in temperature, to the right yung direction. Decrease in temperature, to the left yung direction. For exothermic, increase in temperature, to the left. Okay? And decrease in temperature, to the right. So, basically, you can use this concept. Kaya kung nalilito talaga kayo, kapisaduhin nyo lang yung table. Yun lang yan. Okay? Pero ako, hindi ko siya kinakabisado talaga. So, ito yung ginagamit kong logic para dyan. Although, complicated talaga siya. So, to give you an example, here is the reaction of nitrogen dioxide and dinitrogen tetraoxide. So, tignan nyo mangyayari. If cold yan, magiging darker yung magiging lighter yung vial, no? Yan, naging light siya. Pero kapag yan ay hot, naging darker. Tignan nyo. Naging darker. Why? Ito yung dark. Ito yung light. Look at what will happen. The exothermic reaction, so nasa product side yung heat, so exothermic. Kapag cold yan, to the right yung reaction. Kaya nagiging light siya. Okay? Pero kapag hot yung solution mo, ang sabi dito, kapag exothermic, increase in temperature, to the left. Kaya nagiging brown siya. Okay? Kapag cold, nagiging light. Kapag hot, nagiging dark. Okay? Again, medyo complicated siya, no? Okay? By the way, just to make life easier for you, wala masyadong ganito sa quiz, no? Instead, ang marami niyan, mga changes in concentration lang. Kasi these things are applicable to gases, no? So, sa gases to masyadong applicable. Itong dalawa, sa gases yan applicable. But for aqueous system, ito lang yung gagamitin natin. Okay? So, we really don't need to complicate things. But I have to explain this, no? Kasi pag ginugol nyo yan, lalabas to. Okay? But again, these are applicable for gases, these two. Pero yung aqueous system, ito lang ang gagamitin. Okay. Lastly, effect of catalyst. The catalyst doesn't affect the equilibrium system. Okay, it doesn't affect the equilibrium system. Why? Kasi we know that catalyst speeds up the reaction. And in equilibrium reactions, there are two reactions, yung forward and reverse. Meaning, if you add catalyst, both of the reaction will get speed up. No? Parehas sila bibilis. So, kumbaga, the net effect cancels out lang. Ayan. So, either forward or reverse reaction yan, parehas lang sila ng speed up. Okay? So, meaning adding catalyst will not really help or will not really adjust your equilibrium. Okay? So, no effect yan pag catalyst. So, yan. So, ayan. So, that's the changes in concentration, pressure, temperature, and effect of catalyst. By the way, this one is additional problem lang to, pero walang ganito sa quiz. Okay. So okay na ako dun sa mga ice table lang. Okay. So masterin nyo na lang. Pero itong mga nilagay ko dito, wala na yan. Okay. This one, siguro I'll post the answers na lang in Canvas, no? So it's almost time na rin. Okay. So and I think ito ay nasa worksheet natin. Okay. So if you check the worksheet, andun siya banda sa dulo. Okay, sa part 1 ata yan, I think. Wala pala. So sagutin ko na lang. Okay? So yan, basically, tignan natin, sabi dito, you will need to confirm, to know the direction of the reaction, and then upon adding ammonia, what will happen? Okay. So first, you have to solve for the Q. Okay. And then, kung saan yung reaction direction, ayan, sabihin nyo. And then, if you added ammonia, okay, pag nagdagdag ka nito, what will happen? So, increasing ammonia will push the reaction to the left. Okay. So, changes in concentration yan. This one naman, ito medyo madali lang to. So, sabi dito, the reacting mixture is heated. Okay. So, let's predict the change. Kapag positive yung delta H, ano ibig sabihin? Pag positive ang delta H, heat is your reactant. Okay. So, andito yung heat. So, ano mangyari? Tanong dito, reacting mixture is heated. Okay? So, when you increase heat, where will the reaction go? So, kumbaga parang change in concentration lang to. By increasing reactant or heat, you push the reaction to the right. Okay? Kapag dinamihan mo yung reactant, in this case, yung heat, it will push the reaction to the right. Paano uli napunta sa left side yung heat? Kasi this is an endothermic reaction. Pag positive yung delta H, endothermic yan. Next question. Some N2F2 gas is removed. No? So, change in concentration uli yan. No? So, ito, binawasan mo yan. So, what will happen? The reaction will be towards the left kasi siya yung nabawasan. Okay, so change in concentration concept yan. Pressure is decreased. Ano sabi natin? Kapag pressure, sabi dito, pag you decrease the pressure, you favor more moles of gas. Right? Sabi sa PowerPoint. So, decrease in pressure favors more mole of gases. Ngayon, tignan mo, saan dito yung mas marami mole ng gas? On the left side, you have 1 mole of gas only. 1 mole lang yan. On the product side, you have 2 moles. Okay? So, by decreasing pressure, you favor more moles of gases, meaning to the right yung reaction. Okay? Kasi 2 moles of gas dun eh. Okay? So, 2 moles yung gas doon. Ang catalyst added, alam nyo na sagot dyan, no effect. Because it speeds up both direction. So, bumibili sila in both direction. So, basically, the effect cancels out. Okay. So, again, onti lang yung ganito sa quiz. Okay. But I want you to know this. Okay. Kasi in the laboratory, madidiscuss siya in the future chapters. Okay. Pero yung gases, hindi na siya masyadong ikukwento. Na? So, more on effect of concentration lang talaga tayo in analytical chem. Because yung pressure, volume, and then temperature, mga gases na yan madalas. Okay? And we don't usually deal with gases in analytical chem. Okay? And so, kabisaduhin nyo na lang yung changes in concentration. Okay, so I think that's all. I know, medyo overwhelmed, pero yan, patapos na tayo. Okay, so we're actually done with chapter 3. Finally. Okay. Hiningal ako dito sa class natin ngayon. Yan ang gagawin natin sa susunod na meeting. So, next meeting, we will have an asynchronous discussion. Okay? So, we'll have an asynchronous discussion about Module 4, which is the last chapter for the midterm period. Okay? So, the iteration overview siya, madali lang siya. Okay? This will be asynchronous na lang. So, I'll post the link by weekends na. So, yan. So, bibidyohan ko na lang sarili ko discussing it. But if you have questions, let me know lang then. Okay? So, tapos na tayo sa equilibrium. So, meron kayong quiz dyan. Okay? And of course, problem set. And you also have practice quiz. Okay? So, yan. So, may quiz. Kailan to? Next week. Multiple choice yan lahat. Okay? 15 items, multiple choice. And then for the problem set, ayan. So, bali, wala siya sa libro kasi yung nasa libro masyado mahirap eh. So, ito na lang muna gamitin niya. So, you won't need the textbook sa problem set 3. Okay, so just answer these questions. Okay. So, yun yung question. Sagutin nyo na lang. And then again, if makapagpasa lahat earlier, mapopost ko yung answers. Okay? For the practice quiz, ito yun. It's open till next week. So 40 item questions, 40 questions yan. It's about equilibrium. Okay? Kunwari, ito, equilibrium constant for the reverse reaction. Okay? Diba, na-discuss natin yan. If you flip the reaction, what will happen? Etc. Okay? Exothermic reaction. Okay? So, raising temperature, exothermic. So, to the left yon. Okay? Okay, so trying to work on these problems and then, yan. Pag may question dito, sagutin ko na lang, okay, on my free time. Currently, hindi pa ako makapag-respond sa queries instantly because I've been doing research with some of my students din sa FEU, especially medtech students. So, pero don't worry, I'll go back to your questions na once na matapos na nila yung deadline nila. Okay? So, yan. Okay? So, yun lang. So, I'll see you again next time. Pero yung next time na yun, that will be asynchronous na. So, you will need to watch chapter 4. Then, we will have our midterm period. And then, good luck. Also, I'll give you an update whether mababago pa yung schedule natin because this is the latest announcement. Yung midterm consultation week nilipat ng week 11. But wala siyang sinabi about midterm exam. Kung next week na ba or move palala. Update na lang namin kaya. Okay? So, I'll see you next time. Ingat muna and kita-kits next time. Bye-bye. Have a great lunch. Bye-bye na.